Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I'm bankrupt once again by Fluff and Adam.
What up, people?
How's it going?
And today's matchup is Fluff versus Adam. Fluff has brought back Toppo Lock, and Adam has brought us OG Soul Striker. And just to point out there, this is Mill Striker, I'm going to call it.
I call it Farmer Goku.
Farmer Goku. That works too. Like I would just buttons down below. Feel free to click them there for a reason. But let's get into the matchup.
I had no idea what to expect. Every time I sit down across from Adam, it's always this like really interesting, weird, conceptualized deck. So I had no idea what to do. I had no idea what to sideboard. I had no idea what his deck was going to do. So we're just going to play our game and hope it goes well.
Yeah, and we've got a similar kind of game plan. I mean, we're not necessarily trying to go for the throat the entire time. It's more of a chess match than it is an all-out brawl.
Yeah, for sure. Why don't you explain this deck? If this deck hasn't been on the channel before, what was the inspiration behind it?
You know, I'm kind of sounding like a broken record, but I do like not necessarily taking 8 life from my opponent. I like finding other ways to outvalue my opponent and win through alternate win conditions. And I had seen a stream of somebody trying to play a little bit of, Janemba, the leader Janemba had gotten some clout recently, but it's got that heavy restriction of not being able to have battle cards that are actually cards in general, I think, that are more than 4, I think it is, or 5. So I wanted to see if there was a way around that to still be able to run the mill engine, but maybe include some of the heavier battle cards that really have a lot of value to help stall out.
Yeah,
things like the SSG Goku, Oceanus, those types of things. And so that was kind of the inspiration. The reason I'm going with this particular leader is because this particular leader on Attack on the Awakened side, it stands 2 blue energy, and the OG one does not specify mono blue, so that's why I chose this one.
Yeah, it makes sense. This is standard Toppo Lock. It's been my GOAT since probably set 10 draft box 2-ish. Love this deck. It just does what Toppo Lock does: establish a unison, protect the unison, control the field. Bancroft, did you have?
I was going to ask Adam real quick. I didn't know at the time what Adam was playing. I was like, oh, Soul Striker? Yeah, this should be fun. When you sat across Toppo Lock, knowing in a deck that you like to, kind of needs to play more than 1 battle card a turn, I'm curious what your thought process going into this match was.
I definitely had to. I was kind of aware of that. I've seen videos of Toppo Lock. I've not gotten the honor of playing against Fluff when he's been playing Toppo Lock, but I did know that I would have to pivot a little bit. Fortunately, a lot of my mill pieces get played on the opponent's turn, so it's not so bad for me because I can play one of my Janembas on my turn, and then I can play something that mills cards on my opponent's turn. So I just leaned heavy into that strategy.
Those being the yellow-blue
Bojacks.
Bojacks, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, this card, you do have battle cards that it does negate for you, which is great, but this stops, like, if you want a Dimension Magic, you got to pay 1 additional card. How does this card feel?
It felt really bad, but it was the right choice. I mean, it's a slept-on card for sure, but I think that when Fluff saw that I was playing blue, it was instantly like, this is going in. Is that right, Fluff?
Pretty much. In the top of the video, I said I didn't know what to side in. I did side these in because it is blue. Blue is really fond of passing with 1 energy and then Sensu beaning up to 2 and then going off of Dimension Magic or sparking a Dimension Magic when they have no energy open. And this just taxes the player so that they have to actively pass with enough energy to do their defensive plays. Otherwise, it punishes them out.
Now, my goal is not, once again, to try to get my opponent down, from 8 to 0. So I'm thank you so much for putting the units on the board. So that's kind of a target to swing at, because I really want to control when my opponent awakens, and when they're going to be taking life.
I will say, yeah, if you could gun down that unison, that's your best bet. Now, I see the card you're looking at, and if you want to activate it, it costs you that 1 energy on the field. Go on, Fluff. Sorry.
No, taking the unison out is definitely kind of the correct play. Though I'm seeing that it's the Janemba chain, and I feel confident not having the unison up. I know the Janemba chain can be quite an energy sink, especially if you want to do multiple Janembas in one turn. So I'm not so much afraid of not having a unison to put out. And I don't even know that I have another unison in my hand to reestablish at this point. So I'm going to have to just kind of play the game regularly. I haven't seen any dispos to protect the unison, which would have been incredibly nice. And it didn't occur to me, even at this point, that his strategy was to mill me out. It wasn't until maybe this next turn that I started to realize, oh, okay, he's trying to mill me out. One of the benefits to Toppo Lock is not an aggressively drawn deck. So I don't move through my resources very quick.
Yeah, this particular strategy worked really well against Jake playing Trunks Cheetah this week. I got him down to 1 card in deck, and I just couldn't close it out. But it felt good to have him mill and actually have to think about whether he wanted to swing with his leader or activate, autos and things like that. And there's a lot of decks that do like to draw a lot. So just like when I was playing, Zamasu last week, there are people that like to, ramp energy and go long games, and I'm fine with that. I thought that the strategy would be similar here with a lot of decks wanting to draw a lot of cards.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Toppo Lock is just not one of those. Toppo Lock likes to create mountains out of anthills that your opponents make. So if you make a mistake in the course of playing, Toppo Lock will take advantage of that. As opposed to out-resourcing the opponent, it will just take advantage at the opportunities given.
And I did have to do a lot of thinking when I was deciding which battle cards to actually play. You'll notice here that I'm thinking about the Janemba, and I'm like, I don't want to swing with it. He's got something that he can, wipe my skills with, and I'm not going to be able to mill him. So I had to, I just decided that I thought my value would come more from that activate main than actually getting a crit hit.
And truth be told, I think I think that's the right choice, is just not even swing with it, because Fluff is sitting at 6 life. He is playing super combo Krillin, which requires him to be at 4 life. And if you put him at 5 life, then he could potentially take a life to play Frieza's Reinforcement Army. So keeping him at 6 keeps him from even using the good super combos in his deck.
That is a really common theme with a lot of people that have played against Toppo Lock, is keeping Toppo at 6 life until you're ready to go to the kill, by either focusing the unison down, controlling the battle cards on the field. It's just a smart move to make.
And I think that, the more exposure that you have to different types of decks, you start to see your lines of play a little bit better. Like I had played against Red Sin before this, and I didn't want to get him down to 3 life because I knew that there was possibly a Z Awaken going to happen, and so that one worked out really well. But I think that the more you play, the more you learn, and the more you watch. So click that like and subscribe.
So there you had to pay an energy just to play that card. You took a life, which I assume hurts too.
It does. It hurt my feelings. I think, Fluff and I were on timeout for a little while afterwards, but we're friends now.
We're good. I'm sorry that Absolute Annihilation Goku put a damper on everything.
Yeah, random card that nobody plays. Thanks, Fluff.
Yeah, you're welcome. That card is so good in certain matchups. That card's even really good against yellow decks. where yellow is very extra card heavy most of the time. So being able to prevent them from activating a Vegeta's Final Flash on one energy and stuff like that can be the difference between winning a game and losing a game. Here, I have to sequence correctly. I know that I'm going to attempt to board a unison. I have like 4 lines of play to make. And so I'm going to take a risky play, and I'm going to utilize the activate main on the robotic riposte and play out another copy of Frieza for my hand, which will let me play the Clan of Terror, which lets me look at Adam's hand, get a good grasp of what he's trying to do, what he's building towards, and there's a card glaring in that hand that just has to get played.
Yeah.
So I have to hit that Hatchiak. Like, that buys him another turn. It buys him another setup turn. I would much rather stare down one of those Keflas than stare down the Hatch. So we play the Hatch. Hatch does not get its floodgate effect. And now he's just lost a huge chunk of his defense.
I would say, I saw. Oh, you have an awakening yet. That's right. That's why. I was like, I saw Oceanus in your energy. Sorry, in your hand. I'm like, okay, that's a good negate to go off of. But yeah, no, you have to awaken still.
Mm-hmm. And there's real no benefit to me, waiting to awaken. I'm at 4 life. I'm just a draw 2. So let's see if we can get some new resources into my hand. But I can't play the Senzu Bean because I have to pay 1 extra.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Like, I don't even think you have enough cards in drop to spark 5 at D Magic. Maybe you're just at 5.
Yeah.
So the D Magic is also going to tax you as well if you attempt to do that.
And here's where
you kind of just have to start taking it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, I didn't see your hand earlier. I'm curious if you do have a dimension magic, or just hoping to get one.
I had 1 dimension magic, I think, and then there was an Oceanus and 2 Keflas.
Because, like Fluff said, I think I only see 4 cards in your drop right now.
Yeah, this was a real thinker of a turn.
Okay. So you took that super combo back. Sorry, you took that combo back.
There was no way I was going to be able to get it, get that going. It was too powerful. He was too strong.
Yeah, that boo for 1. And if you notice, I tapped 2 to play that boo in the turn that I played it, but it's only 1. That was a mistake that I had made, because we were talking about it after, and Adam was like, that boo is really strong for 1 energy. I was like, it's 2. And I looked at the card, I was like, oh, it is 1.
I always forget that Vegeta's activate main is not a modifier. You activate main to tap a card, add a marker to this card, and then you turn around and do the minus effect to get the tap down a card in plus 10k? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it gets 5k, double strike, dual attack, and then it gets to rest mode a card. So I'm able to rest mode the last energy that he has open, so it eliminates the possibility of any negates. And I saw his hand before, and all of his battle cards, except for the 1-drop Sake Demon, was a 1-cost 10k combo.
Yeah.
And I knew that he had added like 5 or 6 cards to his hand, but I felt very confident in comboing hard on that first swing and then going light and being safe the next turn and not dying the next turn, and then killing him with Cooler if I needed to kill him the next turn.
And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below, links in the description. Check them out. Thanks for tuning in.